Hang in there. That's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show. We got Colt Knost. Everybody knows this guy. We're talking CBS on the ground for them every single week. And then we also, of course, can't forget Golf Subpar and Gravy in the Sleeves. So, Colt, you're a media man. You're the one that kind of inspired me to get into media. And all I think about is us sitting on the bar, which is normal for us, or we sitting at the bar, not on top of the bar, at Cedar Rapids. And you and I have become kind of local legends there, right? Maybe behind Zach Johnson, but we're kind of inching our way closer, right?
I tell you what, he keeps playing the way he does. I think we might be passing him here pretty soon. I mean, yeah, man, that place is special. We have a lot of fun there every year. They were asking about you this year, like, where's Smylie? Yeah, it just wasn't the same without you, man.
Just to give some context for people asking about what are you talking about with Cedar Rapids, Zach Johnson has this amazing foundation event every year. It's some of the best crowds that they have, you know, compared to some Thursdays and Fridays that we see on the PGA Tour. It almost goes 10 times that for a foundation event. And I'll never forget the first day that I get into the cart and I see what hole I'm going off. I'm hole 1. And meanwhile, the night before, Colt and I drank them out of Coors Lights. And so I get to the first tee and I'm like the main dude, and I have security in my cart. Guy named Bob, nicest guy in the world. And
I left up there.
I left that place saying to everyone, I think I might run for mayor of Cedar Rapids and buy some property there. I love the place.
You should. It is fantastic, and it's by far. You mentioned the gallery. It's by far the most people I've played in front of in the last decade.
It's scary.
It's funny though. But shout out to Zach and his foundation. They do an awesome job. It's a lot of fun up there.
That's right.
Boom towers at the DoubleTree. No big deal.
That's right. That's right. I mean, talk to me about playing in front of people now. Like, we did it so comfortably for so many years, and it was something that like you never really, maybe the first time you played professionally, you thought about it, but every round past that, you hardly, would think about the other people watching. But now when I go play in front of more than 6 people, it's like, holy crap, like the lights are on me. Do you feel that way now when you've gone and played, whether it's the good thing that you played in, anything else under the lights?
Yeah, that was different, by the way, that good thing. I had no idea what I was getting into. But there was like 3,000 people lining the tee box in the fairway. And I'm like, good God, I've been practicing. I mean, this could be terrifying. Thank God the other people that we were playing with weren't very good. And so my bad ones looked pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm fine with the full swings. I've gotten a little issue with the chipping over the last year or two.
Sure.
So I am not a big fan of having to chip in front of people. Like if it's puttable, the putter is coming out. I can promise you that.
It's funny because were you a good pitcher on tour?
Oh, I mean, my short game was incredible. I remember growing up, I wouldn't even if I missed a green, I wouldn't even bring my putter to the green. I knew I was going to chip it to a foot. And now I'm like, dear God, please be able to putt this. Do not have to cover any corner of a bunker. Don't be into the grain.
Okay, you and I are exactly the same because my short game is something that I've always, prided myself on, and for whatever reason, over the last year or two, it's what's been the hardest. And I think it's because with golf, for whatever reason, chipping and reps is more important than full swing reps. Like, I can go out and figure out my golf swing for the most part over a course of a day or two, but the chipping, it seems like every time I get there, I'm like, where's the bottom here?
Yeah, I mean, I laugh my ass off at Johnson Wagner on Golf Channel and when he does these shots from live from, but deep down, I'm like, thank God that's not me because I know I'd be doing the same thing. Yeah, it's not fun. Smylie, I paid $400 and got a lesson from the short game chef, Parker McLaughlin, a couple months ago.
How'd it go? What'd he tell you?
I thought it was pretty good, but I'm actually fine. Like when I'm just out there practicing and I got a shag bag around, little technique stuff here and there. I tell you, the person that's helped me the most is Kevin Chappell, PGA Tour winner. He gave me this little method that I had never heard from before. It's basically like getting short armed, where it just because I struggle with like turning through the golf ball when I chip. I stall out, arms go, and I hit behind it a lot, or I stand up and skull it. But basically, like my arms feel real close to my body. Feel like alligator arms, and it makes me turn, and it's been a lot better. It's awesome around the chipping green. In competition or out gambling, it's It's better, but it's still not where I want it to be. I still elect to go to the putter whenever possible.
Let me ask you this. Have you tried the cross-handed chipping?
I've messed around with it. I even did it back in the day, like when I was playing, just because I saw VJ do it, just like messing with it on the green. And I would say I haven't given it a fair chance. I saw Kiz. I mean, I know he hit a lot of very poor shots.
He hit some good ones
the other night, but the cross-handed chipping was great.
It was terrific. He was kind of explaining to me, this was probably this time basically last year at Kapalua, we were short of the green at 14. You know how you played Kapalua?
No.
Well, grainiest chip in the world at 14, short of the green. It's awful. And after coverage, Kiz and I went out there and started chipping. And he's got cross-handed chipping, just started this. And he's, sculling over the greens. Kurt Byram's like chunking them. I mean, there was a trench. Like it looked like a tornado went through short of the green at 14. I'm surprised there was grass there. But it's so weird. Just I feel like if I was a left-hand low putter, it would be more comfortable to try something like that. But I watched Matthew Fitzpatrick do it, and it's like the most simple thing in the world. He never misses a chip.
Yeah, he's so good at it. And I mean, you see guys like that, and you never even think they have an issue, and all of a sudden they show up cross-handed. I mean, Matthew Pavon, who had an incredible 2024, he's working with the chef. He's chipping cross-handed now.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's crazy. I remember, like I said, VJ was the first guy that I saw ever do it. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's one of the best players in the world. He's won 1,000 times. He's over here chipping cross-handed. But
he's such a good chipper too, right?
Tell you what, golfers' brains, they're messed up, man. Yeah. It's wild. I mean, you can be the greatest short game in the world, and all of a sudden one day it's gone because of one shot, basically.
Is when you stop practicing, the reps go away. Then just that one shot that you hit coming out of off season that you blade over the green, and it sticks with you for 3 months somehow. You're like, what?
I'll hit 20 good ones in a row, and then I'll go out there and I'll lay the sod over one. I'm like, yep, lost it. Don't have it. This is pointless. I think I hit it better now. I know we played at Pine Valley, but I've been off since August, since the Wyndham Championship. So I've been playing 2-3 days a week. I think I hit it better now than when I did it on tour. I mean, it's just the short game is so bad.
Man, Pine Valley, good times, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm still on that first hole.
The first hole for Smylie might be the hardest hole in the world.
It's this wide open fairway, and I got this iron that's looking at me like a steak knife from the night before. And I mean, I might as well hit impact just like this. I mean, the toe was closer to my right foot than it was the golf ball, I think, when I hit the ball.
The video I got of you trying to pitch out the second day when I was in the group ahead of you, and it bounced down the cart path directly behind a tree. I was dying, man. That was too much fun.
Between that and being with Eli hosting us and him trying to find the range as a member and having no idea where it was.
Oh my God. I was like, Eli, we're not anywhere near the range. It's that way. I've been here once before and I know it's not this way. But by the way, Pine Valley, if you're struggling with your game, maybe see if you can reschedule your trip.
Seriously, man, it's punch out, hit on the green, hope you make bogey. And one of the nicer things too about Pine Valley is you make a hole in one, you get the flag, but if you also hole out a bunker shot on, was it the 7th hole, you also get a flag.
They should give you everything you want, anything you want. Just it's all yours.
I tell you, that was a big moment for me because I was coming off of like a double bogey streak, and then holding a bunker shot for birdie for about 50 yards seemed to be quite the win for me that day.
That was a fun trip, man. And now he's a member at Augusta, so that's why I wanted to change our group text name from Pine Valley trip to Augusta National. Like, hey, how about you take us 8 idiots to Augusta now?
We've had kind of like 1 or 2 different of those group texts when we were trying to figure out who was going on that trip. And Wallen was going to go until he threw a chair off the roof. Mm-hmm. And I think Eric Church, it was like the amount of people that ended up in this group text and then who ended up going. It was quite the revolving door of the names that I was like, man, Fran, even if we have something going on, I have to go to this trip.
Yeah. Hopefully Finn Ewing's not listening to this, but I was supposed to play his charity event that week in Dallas after Hilton Head, and then I got invited on the Pine Valley. I'm like, hey,
That's
Finn,
right.
something came up. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
right.
out. I'm going to Pine Valley.
You gotta go to Pine Valley. Well, the next kind of thing I want to talk about, and it kind of has to do with the stuff with kids. It's really about the state of the game, Colt, when we talk about what professional golf, used to look like for us, which was the main show in town. There wasn't YouTube golf. There wasn't TGL. There wasn't Live Golf. It was a simpler time. Everybody, had appointment TV with their dads, their granddads on Sundays to go watch golf on the couch. And it was routine for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And now we've kind of gotten into golf being very popular as a sport. Celebrities care about it. Everybody wants into all these celebrity pro-ams. That seems to be popular. You get the birth of YouTube golf that's kind of taking over. TGL, Live, like I mentioned, and then of course the Grass League, which I want to talk to you a little bit about. I mean, when I mention all of that, like for you, what stands out about just where the game is with all the moving parts and kind of where the tour fits in?
Yeah, it's just wild to think. I mean, growing up. I'm 39 years old now, and I got into the game when I was 12. Tiger won the Masters right before I turned 13, and just thinking like, here's the PGA Tour there, so you can see on the screen. There's the PGA Tour, and way down here is everything else, right? This is the goal. Like my dream wasn't to be on the European Tour, even though I know I'm American, but my dream wasn't to be on the Korn Ferry Tour or anything else. Like the PGA Tour was it, and everyone knew that, and that's why it was such a big deal when you got there. And then all of a sudden, they're not the only show in town. Liv comes around, throws ridiculous amounts of money at guys and into the purses. Listen, it's been great financially for professional golfers. Has it been good for the professional game? In my opinion, no. Mm-hmm. It's divided the game. It's fractured the game, and I think it's probably pushed a lot of the just average viewer away. Like all they talk about is money. There's all this tension, arguing. Like, I don't care about this. Like, I just want to watch the best players in the world play. So if you're not a diehard like you and I are, or a lot of my friends, like you're like, okay, that's cool. These guys can go play golf. I don't really care. And that's unfortunate because I want to see these guys. I want to see golf grow more than ever. And it is like more people are playing golf more than ever. It's just they're not watching it. And I think they're just really sick of everything that's going on with the division, and golf's not big enough. This isn't the NFL, the NBA, or Major League Baseball. Like golf just doesn't have enough people tuning in to have half the audience watching one tour and half the audience watching another tour.
That's right.
And that's just honest. And like, I love the PGA Tour. I had the opportunity to go to Live when it first started to broadcast, and I didn't go. And I get hated on all the time that I'm a shill and all of this and everything for the PGA Tour. And no one has ever once told me what to say. Like my opinions are my own, whether it's on CBS, Subpar, Gravy, and the Sleaze. And I've taken plenty of shots at the PGA Tour for how they've handled things on the shows I'm a part of. But I'll be honest, like I do watch Live because I'm a golf junkie and I want to watch those guys play. Do I enjoy watching the product? Absolutely not. Like I think it's not that great of a product. It could be better, but I just want all of this to go away. I think with the announcement that happened today with Liv signing with Fox, I think that just is like all this hope of them coming together. I'm just like, oh, well, it's a multi-year deal. What are we going to do now?
Yeah. The whole coming together thing with all this you were kind of hoping that they would bleed into one big schedule somehow if you can get all the guys back together. But the announcement today from Fox, if you haven't seen it, the PGA or the Live Golf Tour and Fox will have a multi-year deal. I think one of the biggest things that people would say about just the numbers of who all was watching Live, the caffeine TV numbers were always some of the funniest numbers to see, how inflated they were for, all the people that were supposedly watching Live. So that was a big, topic of conversation, was that nobody was watching it. But now that they've gotten a big media partner outside of, the CW it's not a typical sports network, you would say, it seemed like one of the biggest wins, I feel like, for Liv up to this point.
And in the article, it didn't say the amount, but it did say like Fox is paying a rights fee to Liv to broadcast it. Yeah. So
it's cheap. It's not expensive.
Just like CBS and NBC pays to the PGA Tour. Now that number's really, really high and probably too much, honestly.
Part of the problem.
Yeah, that's a big part of the problem. That's why we have 9,000 commercials, because you got to pay for this. And I don't know if people know this. TV networks aren't in the business of losing money. And people are like, there's too many damn commercials. I'm like, well, I don't know if you know this. They pay to broadcast these golf tournaments, and they don't want to lose. That's why you have to show these and everything. And it's unfortunate. Trust me. I mean, as I'm sure you feel the same way. I mean, I'll be walking down the fairway and I'm like, we're going to another commercial. You got to be kidding me right now.
I know.
But hey, it's business.
And I think the NBA struggles a little bit with this now, hanging on to their stars a little bit too long, whether it's LeBron, Steph, and like all these new teams like Oklahoma City aren't, I would say for somebody who's a casual NBA fan, isn't marketed as well to myself. All I see is Steph and LeBron. And you could probably say the same thing about the PGA Tour with Tiger and what the golf landscape was going to look like post Tiger. And I think once Tiger won that 2019 Masters, right before the new media deal, like you were talking about how expensive it is and too high it is, I think a lot of people were always wondering what was life going to be after Tiger. Mm-hmm. And I think with the ratings where they are now and the growth of all these other parts of the game with all the things I talked to you about earlier, it makes me wonder, is this finally the bubble that was just dying to burst that somehow never did when Tiger was kind of going in and out back in, when he had his neck stuff back in 16, 17, that, we just have found to where people are, Scotty just had the most incredible year ever, Colt, but it's not Tiger Woods.
Yeah. And I don't think there ever will be another one. It's just what he did. Like, he changed a sport. It went from where there was nothing. I mean, I remember the stat where when he came on tour in 96, like the average winner's check was $350,000. And then fast forward to like the year 2000, it was like 1.2 million. And like, it's not all about money, but he changed the game. He brought a different audience in. I mean, I heard a great line. I'm going to get this in on the broadcast, so don't steal this at some point. But I was actually at the gym. I've been going to the gym this off season. And Champions Tour player Kirk Triplett, who's an absolute beauty, he's in there as well. He's in there every single morning. He's like 63 years old now. And today he's like, why the hell are we doing this? And I'm like, dude, I just don't want to feel terrible. He's like, he mentioned this old player, and I can't remember his name. He's like, he had a great saying. He goes, these damn kids, he goes, they took a gentleman's game and turned it into a sport. And I was like, that is beautiful. I love that because it's true. Because all these kids now are crazy athletes. Yeah. I mean, when we first were coming out, I mean, guys like Dustin Johnson, Gary Woodland, you're like, damn. I mean, there ain't many of those out here. Now they're all like that. They're all look at Christo Lamprecht. I know he's just a whole nother level, but like we have real athletes playing golf now, and it's different. And I think the way technology's gone, the way the athletes have come into the game of golf, like the gap is narrowed. Like Tiger was so far ahead of everybody else.
It was just advanced, right? Like he was the athlete that we have now, but the best version of that in this modern era back when nobody was doing it 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also technology like helped all these other players get closer to Tiger. Like if you left the equipment to what it was when Tiger was playing 97 to 2000, where when you hit it off the center of the face, it went crooked. Like he still might be the best player in the world because he was that much better at hitting the center of the face. And
shit, you'd still be out there, Colt.
Do I? Oh, shit. Yeah, that'd be great. Except,
you find the center of the face, no problem.
Yeah, I can hear it land. That's the only problem. But no, like as far as like looking for the next star, and like you said, I mean, what Scotty did, 9 wins, an Olympic gold medal. It's unbelievable. And I love him. Like I've known him since he was 6 years old, and he doesn't care. Like he's not that guy that's going to go nuts out there. He's not the guy going to be doing all these late night talk shows and attracting this whole other audience. Like he's a family man. He shows up, he plays golf, and when he leaves, golf's over with until it comes back. Like it's what he does. It's not who he is. I know he says that all the time.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that massive big now, you know him, like he's funny. He'll trash talk you. You just never see that come across on TV. He's not looking to do that. But in today's world, when you mentioned the YouTube guys and how nuts YouTube golf is, like, I mean, I didn't even know who Good was a couple of years ago. And now I'm like, holy hell, these guys are massive. I mean, they are just printing money out there. But we need entertainers in the game of golf. And Tiger was entertaining. I mean, the running fist pump, the going nuts, the Nike commercials, he was different. And that's what made it so special. Not only was he the most talented golfer we've ever seen, he was different. We had never seen anything like that. And he made golf cool. And now that we got all these people that are interested in the game of golf, we need some star to have that it factor. And now we just don't have it.
There is one. He's just on the Lib Tour. It's Bryson. He kind of is like everything you just talked about as far as, somebody that is not afraid to, do everything.
He is, but I like Bryson, friend, fan. I mean, he's an SMU Mustang, so he's obviously really smart. But look at the start. I mean, he had a very bad reputation, right?
Yeah.
He was not really well liked. He was very tough on the people around him. And then all of a sudden something changed. The YouTube stuff, we got to see this personality. Him over on Live, obviously a much more laid back guy. And I know his team was a big part of that. They helped him kind of change me like, hey, dude, you got to change your ways. These things aren't going well. But then you look back at what just happened at Shadow Creek. Mm-hmm. And that bothered me a lot. Here it is, a made-for-TV event under the lights at Shadow Creek, supposed to be having fun, talking trash. He was playing terrible. And what did he do? He took his earpiece out. He kind of went back to the old Bryson there a bit, didn't he? Yeah, and that bothered me. I was just like, okay, here's the guy that he wants everybody to love him. Everybody thinks he's this great entertaining thing on YouTube, which he is, but he controls the narrative out there. But this show where he was under the lights having to play against two of the best in the world, and Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler, things weren't going well. He was all over the place, took his earpiece out and pouted a little bit. And I was like, right there, that's not right. That's not what we do if we're trying to entertain. That's a good point. And how about we play a little comparison game with all of the versions of the match that you've watched, whether it's the pros. Well, I might as well just use the pros version because that's the one that really we care about, and the TGL, and how maybe, the ESPN's numbers are just kind of insane right now as far as their unique viewership. I saw 4 million, I think, was the number post Tiger one. And these have both been blowouts. And I understand these are the first couple and people are, want to watch it for the first couple times. And the match where I would say that Scotty, Rory, Bryson, and Brooks, man, that's a pretty dang good lineup as far as touting out some of the world's best. And those numbers, I would say maybe the time of the year, the network, the day, being around Christmas, that probably had a lot to do with it. But I mean, can you compare those two products as far as just the numbers and make them make sense? Well, I think we've seen guys play golf for hundreds of years. So playing a match against each other on a real golf course isn't that new. Yes, they're mic'd up. Yeah, it's supposed to be more laid back. TGL is something we've never seen before. It's in an arena. The technology is insane, hitting into this massive monitor, rotating green, being able to chip into the grain, down grain. The guys just mucking it up, having fun. It's different. We have not seen that before. So that's one reason I think the numbers are so big. And obviously Tiger Woods. I mean, you put Tiger Woods on Dave Portnoy's pizza review, it'll do double the numbers it's ever done. I mean, that's a fact because people love Tiger Woods. They'll watch him do anything. But I'm still, I think people are tired of these matches or whatever. The showdown at Shadow Creek. But I don't want to give up on it yet. And I've said this to Sleaze on our shows. I thought the group at Shadow Creek would be perfect for it because Brooks will talk trash. Bryson's entertaining. Rory, normally not scared to talk. Scotty's the best in the world. And I thought he might let loose a little bit, but that was his first ever one doing it. And I believe if he could go back and do it again, he probably would muck it up a little bit more. But I will stand by this. And whether it's me, whether it's you or somebody else, there has to be somebody down on the ground to get these guys going. These golfers aren't just going to start talking trash to each other, making fun of each other. You got to have somebody down there to stir the pot. As good as Charles Barkley is, these guys, they're used to once they step inside the ropes, it's game on, it's full business. Even though this is supposed to be entertaining, you got to have somebody down there. And Bubba was down there. And look, I like Bubba. Let's be honest. He's not cut out to be an on-course reporter. That wasn't very good. That's not what we were looking for out of that. But if you think back to it, the fourth hole at Shadow Creek, that par 5, dogleg left around the water. Brooks Koepka hit it almost left of the water off the tee. Yeah. I mean, it was horrendous. And not one person said anything. I'm like, guys, anyone want to poke fun at this shot he just hit right here? I mean, let's just have some fun. We want to see. I tell these guys, treat it like a Tuesday practice round. You've been out there with all the guys. They talk so much shit to each other during practice rounds, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, totally. And I think too, being at one of those, I think it was the one in Tampa I went to. Tiger was playing. I think Rory, JT, and Jordan were also playing. And it's not a great experience besides just watching these guys play for somebody that's in the crowd, because you don't know exactly what's being said and what's going on. And the other problem I have too, this is kind of speaks to your point, talking about, trying to get these guys going. I think one of the biggest disconnects in both products is having a host try to communicate with these guys, or hosts, whether it be Charles or Matt Berry. Like, it's difficult to communicate to these guys in their earpieces, and I think it's much easier to make visual contact with somebody with a mic and be like, "Hey, that shot, Brooks, you hit on the fourth hole, that was terrible. Thoughts?"
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And that's why I think you need someone down there to interact, whether it's like you with two guys and me with two guys or whoever it is. Just stir it up, get these guys going, get them laughing, get them loose, have some fun with it. And also, I think those matches are entirely too long. Like, they need to be 9 holes.
They should be.
Let's get out of here.
What about TGL? Do you think that's too long?
No, it's 2 hours. It's great. It's just we need one of them to be close, so the last hour actually matters.
Okay, what do you think about the Jupiter Links and Tiger Woods and their decision to sit Tom Kim round 1? Was that?
Well, I have a feeling, this is just my opinion, I have a feeling it's because Tom Kim is playing the American Express, even though I know Kiz did.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So,
Kiz did play.
And it was Tuesday, and just going all the way out there and everything. I'm guessing Tom Kim didn't want. Kiz is kind of, he's playing, but he's signed to do TV as well. And by the way, I got so many comments on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, like, don't even defend your boy Kiz. Like, he shouldn't be on that team. I'm like, yes, he should. He's the best trash talker on the PGA Tour. This thing's about entertainment. He's won 4 times. I mean, he's a hell of a player. He's going through a funk right now, so he's going to get exposed in these situations a little bit. But Kiz is built for this stuff.
We were laughing not at him. I was laughing with him because, just like you talked about earlier with Johnson, whether it was Johnson hitting the chips or it was us hitting the chips, I know exactly what he was feeling, and I knew that there was nowhere to hide. So I was laughing not at his talent, more so laughing that could have been me, and what a nightmare.
I mean, he's been open. He's like, look, I pretty much have fought the driver yips the last couple of years. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dear God, please don't miss the screen. Like, please just get it in play somewhere, Kiz. But, dude, he's the best, man. I'm so pumped for him to get in with y'all at NBC. He's going to do great.
Too.
But
me too.
It's interesting. This I think, and I've talked to Jeff Newbart, the producer, quite a bit about this. Like, I think they got the whole hammer situation wrong. Like, I think if they allowed it, like, you've played hammer, I'm guessing, before. Like,
plenty of times.
We play, like, every tee, it starts over, and both teams have the ability to hammer. And that's what needs to happen in this TGL. So there's some action going on. Like, the fact that a team holds the hammer and they can just hold it for 3 holes to protect their lead, like, that sucks. Like, no, let's get some action going. When you're getting dusted 5-0, like, the other team just got to start hammering every time they can. You just keep pressing until you get yourself back to even. And that's what we want as a viewer. We just want a close ball game. Yeah. Or you lose by 30 and you forfeit the next time you tee it up because it's over.
Okay. Last part about TGL, and this is kind of a player side question, because I was talking to Charlie about this. My biggest concern about the league was that the simulator golf was going to be inaccurate as far as just, guys, hitting good shots and ending up in places that aren't where the golf ball should go. And I think you saw it firsthand with Tiger missing a wedge shot by like 30 yards on that, like one of his first wedge shots. And you saw Kiz kind of come up short right on a wedge. Like, you give Kiz a wedge shot, he's going to hit it close. And in my head, if these guys, the more they do it and the more they have to kind of cater their games and change their visuals and thoughts for like what a true number is, I'm wondering, as they lead up closer to some of these big events and they, fly down to Florida, Colt, on a Tuesday, and then they got Bay Hill. I don't know how long this league goes, but let's just say it goes into, close to the Players. I mean, I feel like guys are going to get in their own heads a bit where max ball isn't cutting and the wedge shots, am I hitting my numbers, my swing off? Do you sense that could turn into a big of a problem with the technology not being quite up to snuff?
It's so weird because the first week, like, I didn't notice much of it. And then this past week with Tiger, You mentioned the wedge. I noticed several guys driver spin being like 1,700. And I was like, man, that just seems rather low.
Maybe indoors. Does that have anything to do with it?
I don't know, but you mentioned Max. Like, I mean, he was lining up left like he always does with his irons, and every single one of them, when they weren't cutting. And I don't know if there was something going on that night with the technology, like there was a malfunction. I don't know, but it just seemed weird. Like, I'm pretty sure if Tiger sculled that wedge on that first hole, he probably would have said something. But like, that was flushed. He was looking at it, and it flew 28 yards too far. Like, I don't care how Tiger's feeling. He ain't doing that.
It ruins the product for me when guys are hitting good shots and not going anywhere close to where they should, because that's like the fun in watching it for me is like you and I would consider us to be very high level players. And so we know what looks to be good shots and like what they're thinking about trying to do. And when it doesn't do it, I'm like, gosh, I mean, I'm having fun, but it kind of sucks because these guys can't necessarily trash like potentially the simulator, because that's probably not what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they're definitely not supposed. You heard a couple of guys like kind of quietly like, there's no way that went right, or like there was some of those little comments, and I'm like, yeah, they knew as they started to say it, they're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't bash this technology, but I would love to hear like if there was something a little wrong this past Tuesday, because there were some weird ones, and apparently they need to put some more sand in that bunker for Kiz.
You know, my favorite part about it was that I think he asked Max whether, hey, is it going to come back off of this ridge, and then proceeds to hit the center of the golf ball with the bottom of his wedge into the middle of the pin. I woke up Anna Carter. Fran was like, what's up? Like, what's going on? I mean, I'm howling laughing. I am howling. And Tiger's crying. Max is crying. Everybody hit the deck. And everybody's been around in a game or playing around with your buddies, and somebody does it, and it's just like everybody hits the deck. It just happened to happen in front of millions of people for Kiz. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see where that ball was going to end up, because I'm interested to see if that was going to go in the bleachers.
That would have been unbelievable. But then give him some credit. The chip shot coming back, I thought it was going in. And that would have been all time if that
shirts
ball
would have flown off. I mean, we would have had the tomahawk, like the whole deal if that would have happened, right?
That was awesome. God, I love that guy.
All right. What about Grass League? Can you tell me more about this? This is kind of something that Wyndham Clark asked me about. It's like, hey, do you want to play? And I was like, I don't know. This was at the Hero, and he was telling me about the league, and I really am not very aware of it. I know you're probably very connected now, doing just a little research right before you came on, and I didn't know Sleaze is involved. Tell me more about this Grass League and kind of where it fits in the game of golf.
Yeah, so I've had a couple meetings with him actually before the whole thing even got built.
Cool.
They actually asked me to invest in the golf course to see if I wanted to be a part of it. But it's this old golf course down in Tempe, right by the airport, very close to Arizona State. Used to be called Rolling Hills. They went in, made some changes to it, but basically pretty much, especially when they play it at night, it's under the lights, and every hole is a par 3. During the day, there's like 3 par 4s or something like that. But every time they have the grass.
Is this the same place they did the good thing?
Yes.
Okay, so I watched this place. I watched that event last year before Phoenix.
Yeah, so they have it all lit up. It's really cool. Got food trucks out there. Like when they do the events, they get some musical acts to play and everything. But it's cool, man. It's unfortunate. Like they had their big one just early in December. And Sleaze played, but they have all these teams. Like Sleaze is a part of the Minnesota Muskies. A buddy of ours is from Minnesota here, and he bought a franchise, and so he gets to fill out the team and everything. And we got our buddy Ben Herman, who owns Silverleaf over here. He calls everyone Dog, and he's from Florida, so his team's the Swamp Dogs. He actually brought a live alligator out to the last Grass League. Yeah, he's nuts. But it's cool, man. It's basically like a high stakes par 3 competition, and it's team event. You play matches. I guess this one it was stroke play both days, but it's a scramble, which I'm not a fan of that. But anyways, it's really cool, and it's an awesome concept. And PGA Tour got wind of it because some guys were going to play. Bo Hostler actually called to play. Wyndham, who owns part of, or Municipal owns the team, but Wyndham's a part of it, wasn't allowed to play. And then they had a few PGA Tour Champions guys signed up, a couple Korn Ferry Tour guys, and the day before said, nope, you guys are out. because
Wow.
they won't release them, which I found weird. Like I've had some talks with the tour about this. I just don't really get it.
Could you play?
I don't know. And that's one thing that I actually want to talk to him because I mean, I'm not technically a member of the PGA Tour anymore, but I am vested. So I have some stake in the game over there.
Of course.
Because I want to help these guys out because I think it's a really cool concept. Like we're talking about trying to get a caddy one lined up for Monday of Phoenix Open under the lights, put up some money, two-man caddy teams.
That would be fun. I would like to go watch those guys do that.
Would be really cool. But I like it. It's going to be, I mean, they signed a deal with NBC and Peacock to have it broadcasted. I don't know what kind of numbers it did. I went and saw it. I went back and watched a little bit of it, but it's cool, man. I mean, I think if you get some big name guys in there, it could really be something. But I mean, I don't get why the tour. I know they want a piece of it. I'm guessing.
Sure. Definitely.
If it goes forward, but I think it could be something cool. They're wanting to grow it, have several throughout the year, like all over the country, and make it this big. Like find out who the best par 3 player in the world is.
That's it. So it's just for that event, it's just the par 3s.
Yeah, just under the lights, par 3s. It's cool. And there's some damn good players.
How has Sleaze played? Has he played any good?
They did not play.
How
good.
much money you say they're playing for?
The winning team this past one got 40,000. The purse was 100.
40,000 and you just cut it 3 ways or what? Or 40
so
a man?
It goes to the franchise owner, and then he does with it what he wants.
Okay,
because there's USGA and all that.
You go and buy an alligator with it.
Yes.
Now they're just gonna bring alligators every
I will
time.
I will give Sleaze a shout out here. Him and Kitty. It's once again par 3 scramble. I must repeat. 125 yards. They made a double with no penalty shots.
Oh my god! Oh my god! What's the story? How did they do it?
I guess they both hit it over the green, and like it's basically overseeded around the greens. And then if you get to it, it's burnt out Bermuda, and it just rolls. And it went like 50 yards over. I guess they came up short.
I was kind of hoping for one that was like a green side 5. You know, that's awesome.
I mean, it was probably 50 yards from Sleaze's story. It was 50 yards over the green that led to a 5. But I was like, it's a scramble, guys. What are we doing here?
Oh my gosh, I love Sleaze, and I can't wait to see him. I'm going to be at Phoenix this year for the Golf Channel, so I can't wait to see the Thunderbird of Sleaze just like trying to survive that week. It's quite an uphill battle for Sleaze and all the Thunderbirds and all you have to do that week. It's quite an event.
We film our stuff Monday morning normally for Subpar, and then we have Gravy and the Sleaze as well. I mean, our voices are just the most horrendous thing you have ever heard. I mean, and I'm obviously working, so I'm not going quite as hard as he is, but I mean, it is a full week of just debauchery for these guys. It's so much fun. And that's why we were talking before the show about, Genesis and what they're going to do, because it's not going to happen at Riviera. And I told Sleaze, I was like, man, I'm hearing a lot of people telling me like, y'all are thinking about trying to get it and have back-to-back weeks at TPC Scottsdale. He's like, wait a second, are we going to have to run it? And I'm like, yeah, like Thunderbird's back-to-back weeks. He's like, no. He goes, I'll die. He goes, there's no chance we can do this.
I'll quit. There's no way. Can't do it. I mean, you'd have to definitely get some subs for Sleaze for those weeks for sure.
Yeah, I was like, Sleaze, there's not going to be concerts the second week and everything. You can just take it easy a little bit. But
we're filming this. This is Thursday. That news you talk about with LA just came out, and obviously sending thoughts, prayers, condolences all to the people in that area. It's the most insane thing I think I've ever seen on my TV. So with that being said, and the PGA Tour deciding like they should definitely not play it at Riv. We don't know where it's going to be. Even Colt, who works for CBS, doesn't know where it's going to be. So we might as well play a guessing game of where do you think it's going to be? So Colt, I'll let you start. Where do you think they're going to go?
Yeah, it's tough. And like I said, I think we're supposed to find out tomorrow for TV and everything, just so we can figure out what the hell's going on. We can get people there to survey and figure out everything. But my first thought was possibly going, honestly, my thought was staying at TPC Scottsdale for 2 weeks like they did at Memorial during COVID a couple years ago. Stayed at Muirfield Village, played back-to-back weeks there. Sounds like that's not going to happen. From everything I heard, if I was a betting man right now, I would lean on these guys going back to Palm Springs and playing the stadium course at PGA West.
Okay. Is that with intel or is that with just your Just, I mean, the infrastructure's there. It's a good golf course. Yeah. It's a totally different field than you would get.
Just from hearing some things, like I know Tiger wants it on a tough, challenging, like tour-ready golf course.
Stadium's that.
Yeah, and stadium's tough. I mean, the scores were pretty high the first round there at the American Express. My other two thoughts were Torrey Pines and Shadow Creek. And so, yeah, I guess I do have some intel because I heard both of those weren't going to happen. But if I could vote, I vote Shadow Creek, please. That would be fantastic.
I heard Torrey. That was one, but that one just seems weird to me. I wouldn't be as excited for Torrey because like Torrey's great because when it comes on TV, it's like you haven't seen it in a year. But seeing it in back-to-back weeks, it's almost not as cool. I don't know. I would be like more fine going to watch the PGA Stadium course because I'm with you on that. I would say most people tune in to watch Torrey because they love the views, they love the golf course, where maybe the Amex, the field's obviously gotten better over the last couple of years because guys actually play. But for the most part, only a certain amount of guys play, and having all the top guys go play that course actually it's a pretty entertaining golf course. That 17th hole is way harder than the 17th hole at Sawgrass, I think.
Yeah. 17 and 18. 18
oh, gosh.
Very similar, but both are very difficult. But yeah, I think that'd be a good fit. I'm with you on Torrey. Like I love Torrey. It's a great golf course. It always delivers great finishes. I mean, you think back to all the tournaments we've had here. They've always been unbelievable finishes, but the golf course visually is pretty boring.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm with you. Like I don't really want to walk it 8 times in 3 weeks.
Are you calling for like a reno, a Torrey? Do you think it needs it?
No, because I love like the every tournament is so exciting. So no, like it's not my favorite golf course in the world to watch because a lot of the holes kind of look the same. I mean, there's not a whole lot of bunch of dog legs or anything. Everything's just really long, really straight, and the golf course is freaking hard. Yeah. But I mean, Tiger's U.S. Open, John Rahm's U.S. Open. I mean, it's always an awesome finish. So I'm here for it. That's people hated all over Valhalla last year at the PGA Championship because they torched it. Look at everyone they've had there. Tiger, Bob May. You go back to Mark Brooks, Kenny Perry. The Ryder Cup was awesome there.
Got a good leaderboard. Heck of a finish. So
some golf courses just produce great leaderboards and great finishes, and I don't care what they look like if they do that.
Yeah, it's good for TV in that case. And that pond at 18, Colt, as well, at Torrey is probably first time seeing it. On TV watching as a kid, it feels like it's a big lake that's just short of the screen. You get there in person, you're like, man, that's a puddle. It's the most surprising element of that course was thinking that was a big pond, and it just is not.
No, tiny little one. And that's just, and when they make it where everyone in the field can go for it, that's just such a great finishing hole.
Yeah.
Kyle Stanley might disagree.
Yeah, that's true. But he did win the next week at Phoenix, right?
God, that's the most incredible bounce back of all time.
Yeah. After spinning it back in the water when he just had to make a par. Is that right?
I think he made 8 to go into a playoff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Torrey Pines, you and I both were playing on that crazy day where Brandt Snedeker shot 69 and like 60 mile an hour winds. What was your recollection of us playing that day? Like where you were on the leaderboard, what you shot, and do you think you'll ever play in conditions as hard as that again?
No, will be the answer. The conditions were just absurd. I remember I was playing with Billy Horschel and Scott Stallings, and we were the group behind Brandt Snedeker. And
were.
That was the day. I think we started the day like 3 or 4 off the lead. Like we were in
so you
16th place. I mean, we were right there. And I remember it was just insane starting out. Like I hit 5 wood into 1. Number 2 is normally like a driver and a wedge for me. I think I hit driver 4 iron into it. And then 3, they had the tee moved up, and it's where I made that insane putt when the wind was blowing 1,000. That was that day.
How long did it take you to hit that putt? Were y'all trying to not putt that putt?
Yeah, Brad Fable was right over there. I'm like, dude, my ball won't sit still. Like he's like, you got to putt it. And then they moved the hole location a little bit so it wouldn't flood. So it was kind of like a little bit on that hill.
Slope on the right. That's right.
And I was like, Brad, you got to hit this up to the fringe and it's got to come backwards. Like, what are we doing out here? And he's like, sorry, man, you got to go. And I ended up making it. And then they blew the horn, which was
no, they didn't.
Yeah, they blew the horn as we were walking to the next tee.
I don't remember them blowing the horn that day.
Yeah, we stalled. We went off for a little bit and then went back out. And then I remember I got to number 7.
I finished. Did you? You probably didn't finish that day,
No,
did you?
I'll tell you that story.
Because the wind switched back to the other way the next morning.
Yeah. So I got to 7, and that's when they used to have like long drives on this hole for the day.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was 4th or 5th the last group, and I went through there, and it said Tony Finau 228 yards, and I'm like, oh my, what am I going to do? Like, this thing's going to go 170. Like, this is a problem. But anyways, so we get going, and it's blowing 1,000, as you know, an 18 straight down wind. Yeah. But it was blowing so hard, like I couldn't even go for it. And so I laid it up, and they blew the horn right after I laid up, and they came up and they're like, hey, like, it's not a dangerous situation. You have the option of finishing. And we're okay. So we just seen Billy Horschel like dump one in the water, trying to finish, make 7. And I was like in 15th place or something like that. And my caddy, John Davenport, was like, hey, you got 124. I mean, it's going to be really hard to get it in that bowl with this wind. He's like, we could just mark and come back. And if it's calm tomorrow, make birdie, finish top 10. I'm like, all right, I like that. Well, marked it, came back the next morning, it was blowing 40 out of the other way. So I won 24.
So did you hit 4 iron?
I hit 7 iron into the back bunker and got it up and down.
Oh, what an up and down. What a great
I was
up and
like,
down.
oh my God, what are we doing? But yeah, it was insane.
What did you shoot that day? Do you remember?
77. And I think I went from 17th to 16th or something like that.
Let's see. God, I used to remember exactly what it was. I shot 76 and got into the top 25 and started the day like 38th, 40th.
It was insane. I mean, I just remember Brant was in front of us, and obviously you weren't really paying attention. There was so much going on, and you were just trying to survive out there. But I remember I just kept looking at the leaderboard, and he's just like climbing, and everybody else is making bogeys, and they're not moving.
I remember the same thing.
I was like, this score cannot be right. It shows he's 3 under par. Like, what are we? There's no way. It was just one of the greatest rounds I've ever heard of in my life. And then
it was an insane day, wasn't it?
The only player in PGA Tour history, I believe, to not hit a shot on the final day of the tournament and win.
Wow. I was in Phoenix waking up and watching it when the wind switched. I just kept on moving up and up and up. And I was like, this is the best. Waking up in a new city that I'm already going to be at. And I just keep on making more and more money with everybody screwing up on these last couple holes.
Yeah. He finished Sunday and then went out there Monday just to warm up, just in case. Never had to hit a shot. Won the golf tournament.
There's a stat. And just like nobody will ever probably top the stat of teeing off before me at the Masters. Like nobody will ever do it before me. Just never going to happen again.
That's awesome.
Well, San Diego's next week, Colt. It's the beginning of the CBS swing. How pumped are you to get back to work? If it's got to feel like it's been a year since you've put the pack on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've still been working as far as podcast and Sirius XM, but that's not the same. Like I haven't had to get on an airplane. I have not worked since the U.S. Amateur at Hazeltine, which was the middle of August.
Wow.
So it's awesome, man. Like looking at this job now that I've been doing it for several years, like this is the greatest gig ever. Like we start basically as football is wrapping up. We work for a month at CBS. Then we have 6 weeks off. And then starting at Augusta, we go nuts, right? I mean, it's just, we have like 2 weeks off, 2 or 3 weeks off between Augusta and the end of the season, whether y'all have the playoffs or we have the playoffs. But no matter what, I'm finished in the middle of August. And then I don't have to do anything until January. I'm like, I get all football season off. It is glorious. I love it. But
you and I both this year, I think I just worked twice in the fall, and I'm just so pumped to, once our calendar ends, Colt, it's just like, let's fire up the grill and let's get the golf clubs out and let's go.
Yeah, it's great. I've been playing a lot of golf, but I'm excited, man. I love being out there calling golf, and our West Coast swing is just so good. I mean, you look at those events, Torrey Pines, Pebble, Phoenix, LA. I mean, just 4 incredible golf tournaments.
Y'all had some tough luck too. I mean, last year we had, we all didn't have the bad luck that we had in Phoenix with the crap weather that we had last year. Hopefully the Phoenix weather is much better for y'all, but
I got the caddy in it.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
That was genius.
That was Taylor Montgomery, who's, by the way, he's such a great guy. And it's so fun to talk to and just like what he went through this year, like his driving problems that he had, but one of the best putters of potentially to ever touch a putter. That's how good this guy is when he gets on the green.
Yeah, I mean, I know he missed some times. He's got like 8 medical starts, but he was like 135th in the FedEx, but he was number 1 in strokes gained putting. I mean, it's absurd, dude. Caddying for him, like I love the guy. I've played 100 rounds of golf with him. The driver is the weakness, but he would hit one 9 miles left, 9 miles right. And he'd be like, what's over there? I'm like, dude, I don't know. You think I've been over there? I have no clue. But I'm going to go find it for you.
You hit it further left or right than I hit forward. So
Yeah.
like, how am I supposed to know?
It was beautiful, man. It was a lot of fun. It just, the 1 week for me to choose to caddy on the PGA Tour or get to caddy on the PGA Tour, I have to go 33 holes in the slop on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh boy. My dogs were barking. I'd never been so tired.
Yeah, it was hilarious to see you out there, especially on the range. Just you were struggling when I saw you a couple different times on the range that week. But
yeah, I also have no discipline, and I still went to the concerts every night, even though I had to be up at 5 a.m.
It's the right thing to do.
I wanted to treat the week like a real caddy.
It wasn't
going to have a good time. Show up hungover.
Definitely not a mistake on your part. Probably would have done the same thing. I mean, there was a pretty dang good concert list last year. I think Kygo was on Saturday.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else they had, but it was a really good one. Oh, Dirks Bentley was incredible.
Yeah.
His crew, their like thing they come up at the end with all the wigs and stuff on.
Yeah. What's it called? Nashville Nights or something like that?
Oh my gosh. I had my expectations going into that concert were like a 5 out of 10 left. And I was like, I got to go see these guys somewhere else. It was great. Incredible.
Yeah. Dirks is an honorary Thunderbird too.
Is he?
Yeah. His dad was a Thunderbird. The lineup this year too, by the way, it's unbelievable. We got Jelly Roll, Luke Bryan, Friday's Nickelback. That's going to be all time, bringing it back old school. And then Saturday, they struggled a little bit. They ended up with Swedish House Mafia for their EDM.
Swedish House Mafia coming back from the grave. Let's go.
Yeah, but dude, I'm actually sneaky excited for Nickelback.
I
think it'll be so much fun.
Can you imagine if Nickelback and Creed came out and did a little 1-2 punch on Friday?
So good. Man, that week is so much fun, but I'm glad it's only 1 week a year.
Yeah, that's true. Well, your CBS team's great. Love listening to you guys and watching. Look forward to watching all those events. And real quick on with Trevor, I know he's incredible to work with, very hard worker, but I have to ask you, do you know anything about the role that he just picked up with OWGR, with joining the committee? What exactly do you think his involvement will be with that? Because it's kind of interesting with all the discussions with Liv and if they're going to get any points as they've withdrawn their attempt to get points. So curious to hear if you have any insight on that.
I had no idea like this was even a possibility. I saw the announcement just like you, like he didn't tell us anything beforehand. Yeah. So that was cool to see. I'm excited for him. I mean, nobody loves golf more than Trevor. I know he will be all in. He'll make it as fair as possible and give it his all. I know.
What is fair? Do they deserve points? Is it fair?
I don't know, man. It bothers me so much with all this. Is it fair?
It's a close shot. I mean, if Brendan Grace and Bubba Watson didn't come back, I think their argument for things would be much easier, but it's just such a closed shop thing that it's really difficult for me to say that, hey, you play against the same 48 dudes and you, even if you play crap and you play your way off the tour, you still come back the next year. It's just, that's the thing that kind of bothers me with that as far as when it comes to points.
I've seen some players saying that the top 16 should be getting spots in the majors. I'm like, you want a third of your tour to be in the majors? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's tough. I feel like, and I've said this a million times, and I know things change and you adapt to certain things, but like there was a criteria laid out for them. All they had to do was meet that criteria, and they probably would have gotten world ranking points. Mm-hmm. And they just chose to go the other direction.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you going to do? Like, this is what they said to do. The speed limit says 55. Okay, you can't just go 90. Okay, because you think that's the right thing to do, and you think it's better. Like, this is what it says, and we have to follow that. And they chose not to. Mm-hmm. So, it bothers me so much when these guys just keep complaining. Like, you knew what the deal was going in, and then whether or not you believe Eugenia Chikara. I mean, Carlos Ortiz said it on our Subpar podcast, flat out asked him, like, were you told y'all were going to get world ranking points and access to majors? And both those guys said yes. Yeah. So they obviously were not truthful with those guys going into when Liv got started. And it sucks because, look, I want some of those guys in the major championships. Like, I followed Bryson at the PGA Championship on Sunday with Victor Hovland, and it was awesome. I mean, that place was going nuts. He was playing to the crowd. It was so much fun to follow him. Like, I want to follow him more. I want to follow a lot of those guys more.
As do I. The Live Tour did take a lot of the more interesting personalities, you could say, and maybe even some of the villains that you could say
100%.
that created some really good drama between some players on the PGA back in the day. So interested to see. We're going to keep monitoring. I know a lot of you guys probably listen to Colt and their show. They do a great job. So continue to check them out. Obviously, Colt, you and I, we need to get on the golf course soon. And the one thing I ask of you is that I haven't played Whisper, and we're going to need to make that happen at some point.
I know a guy.
Is that guy you?
Yeah, you just let me know when you come out here for Phoenix. If you want to do it early in the week, we could do it, and then I'll even repay the favor. If you need me for the happy hour, possibly on Friday, I might actually be full blown in the happy hour.
There you go.
But I'm willing to do it. It'd be a lot of fun. But I'd love to have you out to the Rock, man. Place is awesome. How
long do you what's a normal warm up time for you? Do you just go straight onto the tee? Like
no. I'm too old now. I mean, I'm 39. I'm like, God, I don't know if I can hit it if I don't hit a couple. I mean, I'm 10 minutes hitting balls and I putt 4 balls and I go. Did I lose you?
No, I got you.
Oh, sorry.
Just keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a quick warm up. Unless if I got nothing to do, I mean, I'll go out there and put in a little hour practice session before to get the body moving and everything. I still enjoy. I do laugh at my practices now. Like I got one of those full swing TrackMans they sent me, and I took it out one day and I was like, I'm going to put in a little session here. I got hitting balls for a while. Went through the bag, and it has a ball count on it. I went through the bag and everything. I was like, man, that'd be a nice little session. I looked down. It was 67 golf balls.
What?
67. It was like an hour-long practice session. I was like, I'm done. Like I was like, I used to hit 400 or 500 balls a day, and I'm like I can't tell you the last time I hit 100 balls, like just actually practicing.
Okay, so I was on the range at Kapalua talking to Joe Scovern and Ludwig Oberg, and he shows me this picture, and I was because him and I were talking about, hey, how long's your normal warm up, Joe? And he was like, hardly anything. Most of the time I just chit chat. But he's like, but Colt, on the other hand, he warms up for like 2 hours before his round. Here's a picture of Colt grinding on the range before his warm up. I was like, really? I kind of thought he would be a go to the tee guy. So all that you just said, like, are we? I got some evidence for you right here.
This is typical. This is typical caddy embellishment. So I'm happy to clarify this story for you. That is me down at the end. So we were playing this pro scratch event at Whisper Rock. Okay, we had like 22 teams. And I was playing alongside Brandon Harkins, and we were in the next to last group. So we were teeing off much later than a lot of the people that were down on this end taking pictures of this. And I didn't hit it very good the first day. And so I wanted to be a good teammate. So I was like, you know what? We're not teeing off till like 12:20 or something like this. We got all the time in the world.
Is this 8:30?
And by the way, we got Sleaze and all these guys over here that are just, there's
just
nonstop
giggling.
chatter.
They're just giggling.
Yeah, I'm not going to get anything done. I was like, I'm going to go down here in this corner. I'm going to hit 30 balls on my launch monitor, make sure my path is okay, see if I can find a little something. And so that's what I did. And I got a lot of abuse for that, Smylie. I was just trying to be there for my teammate.
Well, I set you up knowing I had some bait here just to see, what you described your warm-up session as. I had a story from Joe saying that it was quite the warm-up you put in.
That might have been a 20-minute session.
They said 2 hours.
He was in Hawaii. He knows nothing. And also, I never play golf with him because his big game is a $5 Nassau. Okay, I need to be entertained.
You need to sweat a little bit. You need some action.
I mean, he's caddying for Ludwig. He's printing money. He should be playing for whatever we want.
What's your handicap? Do you keep one?
Yeah, I type in every score. My index right now is plus 3.8.
Tell me why I should get a handicap.
Because I like to gamble, and I always bring up Sleaze because he's my boy, and we always have this argument about this. He's like, I'll just always play to whatever you're playing. I'm like, that's not right. I type in every score, and like a month ago, I was a plus 5.2. Now I'm a plus 3.8 because I had some good scores fall out. Last year, I sucked, and I was like a plus 1.2. So it moves around. And so like when I'm playing good, obviously I play with the tour guys a lot. And
does it feel accurate for you? Like the plus whatever, like, does it feel like it's fair in the games that you play?
Yeah, I think it is. Like we make the tour guys play to a plus 6, and like my plus 3.8 8 or whatever at Wishbrook will be a +2 or a +3, depending on probably a +3. So I get 3 shots from like John Rahm.
And will you play a tee up or no?
No, I play the same tee and I get 3 pops, and we have a nice battle out there.
Love it. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. I don't have a handicap, so we're gonna have to. I'll just be whatever you are.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm playing pretty nice right now. You better get ready.
I know. I don't know where I'm at, so that's the best part. So, well, Colt,
I'll tell you this: if you do come to Wishbrook, it's grass and then desert. So find white on green.
Well, luckily for me, I just pack 2 dozen of golf balls in my bag every time I play, and I don't hardly carry my bag anymore. So, with that being said, like I come with bullets, and some days I only need 1. Some days I'm firing off rounds.
You got that lethal driving iron. Just bring that thing out.
I think it's the chicken stick. Some days she cooperates, and some days she doesn't. But we'll see. Next time we'll tee it up. Hopefully she cooperates.
Love to.
All right, Colt. Thanks, buddy.
Beautiful, man. Congrats on all the success. Appreciate you.
Thanks, brother. You too.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool, and
all of our lovely fans and subscribers. But make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too. So please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the